Going live. Going live. Fuck it. We're doing it live.
Do it live
Hi guys, Paul here.
with Mike.
Maniacs Meat Podcast. We're doing Color Out of Space. Color Out of Space, which is the original title. Our with the European. We saved the U's for IOUs because America owes everybody. Okay. Nicolas Cage, Color Out of Space. First time watch for me.
Third time watch for me, I think.
Big fan of the story. So we're gonna go with Mike. What do you think?
So personally, I enjoy Color Out of Space. I enjoy the Nick Cage Color Out of Space. I thought there's liberties taken, but it definitely felt Lovecraft to me. All mixed face. The cinematography in it is on point. I generally like it. I think especially compared to new horror films and new.
So not just like Lovecraft horror film genre,
not just Lovecraft, but like
the new genre
if you were
of
to
modern
compare
horror
this to modern horror films, this definitely whoops the shit out of a lot of them, I think.
Shit whooping.
Yeah. I think it was very well done, and I don't think it had the publicity that it deserved. I think it was a good film.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's a solid film.
There you
go. That's my take.
Well, I want to give Mike props. 2 props.
Yeah, you said I didn't hear what they were.
2 huge props for letting me watch films. I'm glad I didn't pay for it. First of it's Midnight, the remake. Thank you for spending 20 bucks.
Yeah, $20 on that. But
and
John Russo was worth it.
And thank you for saving me $20 for this piece of shit. So anyway,
piece of shit.
So Color Out of Space is a very interesting film for the dumbed down, moronic society that we live in now that needs absolutely shown everything and cannot follow an actual story plot when it's written for perfectly and for you by Lovecraft. So they didn't follow the story at all. There's a lot of nuances from the story that were really cool to watch, but they just added so much horse shit that just didn't need fucking put in at all. And of course, they had to put a love romance between the black hydrologist and the fucking kid, with first girl kid, which is the creepiest fucking all this shit's a kid. I don't know why they did that, but then there's so many things that just didn't make sense at all to me. As far as and it's when we talk about typecasting a little bit. I'm not talking about the hydrologist. I think I don't want to give the guy credit. I want to give the guy as much credit as possible. I think he's such a dynamic character and actor. I think Chong was a little typecast.
Yeah.
Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah. So, by the way, he wasn't in the story originally. None of this was in the story originally. They weren't rich in the story originally. They didn't have a wine cell in their story originally. It wasn't the hydrologist that witnessed everything firsthand in their story originally. Nothing to this was in the story originally. And there was a U in the story originally. So let's just think that about. There was no mutated demons in the original. There wasn't the trees weren't coming out and fucking fisting people in the original. I'm just saying, like, it's just so fucking stupid compared to this new age modern society that needs shown everything. And as long as you're not flashing lights in their face, they won't pay attention. And I understand the frustration that people understand when they watch like a Lord of the Rings or The Hobbit and stuff. I watch Color Out of Space, or I watch any Lovecraft film going, that's not right. That's not right. That's not right. And I get it, but I mean, cinematography, it was a fun watch. Storyline, it was pretty much okay. Especially and most of the people that watch these films have no idea how to read in general, let alone read the fucking story. So I get it, but at the same time, there was good things and bad things. Yeah, so it was an okay film.
I think that like we kind of discussed as you were watching the film, there's liberties taken with adaptations from books to film that
there was a few liberties
that this did, but I felt like it followed the through line of the film and stayed kind of with the story.
I would say to what he said that if you consider the movie version of Color Out of Space pretty much line in line with the story, I would say the movie The Stuff is about as line in line with the story of Color Out of Space as the film was. What a load of horse shit. It was not even close to line in line. Everything was fucking different.
It was still Lovecraftian.
It was still Lovecraftian, but not in the good Lovecraftian way. It was in that modern media bullshit Lovecraftian way where shit needs to be there for no reason. Like, you know what I mean? The Color Out of Space was creepy and horrific and scary without doing all these visual effects of lightning bolts shooting out of everything and creatures coming out of the well that didn't need to be there and just like all this stuff.
I think the effects with like the mom and son.
See, the thing is, yeah, like the mom and the son being fused together and then becoming a spider creature. Like, what am I fucking watching? Am I watching The Exorcist 3D 2025? I don't understand what I'm doing right now. You know what I mean? It was so fucking stupid. The fact that the girl had to be the last one surviving because there was some love romance between her and the fucking hydrologist didn't make any fucking sense to me. Like, why do you need to put that? Why do you need to shoehorn shit like that into a fucking goddamn perfect story? And none of this, by the way, any of this, actually most of the stuff that happens in the modern world today would be approved by Lovecraft.
I think you're fairly right.
Fairly right. Fairly right.
I think you have some issues.
Fairly right.
But I do think it. I think it felt like a Lovecraft story.
I think Nick Cage was a little bit too much Nick Cage in
it. A little cagey in it.
He was a little bit overly cagey.
A little cagey.
Yep. And I would say, if that door opens, I'm going to start screaming Nick Cage style. But it's fine. It's fine. But I was just like, Nick Cage! You bastards! And I love the fact that he said the car isn't happening. He said something drained the batteries from the car, even though the car was clearly turning over, which if there was no charge in the battery, the car wouldn't turn over at all. There was a lot of interesting stuff, though, at the same time, how they were trying to put a modern set of people into a kind of arcane environment. So there are people that just moved out there in the middle of nowhere. They have an alpaca farm. He's in the retirement. I get that. They were using the Color Out of Space that came out of nowhere, and that kind of aura, something about it. Of course, this is reaching from the original story, but something about the aura was ruining not just electronics, I guess you would say, but just the waves. Because of the radiation it was coming up, was ruining the waves of the phones, was ruining the way the see.
I felt like
when it wanted to, though, like it would still make TV come in, but in a way that would make it come in that it did what it does.
I felt like they translated about as well as you could.
Yeah.
From something that was written almost 100 years ago.
Mm-hmm. One of my biggest problems that I saw in the storyline, two big problems. The hydrologist that was doing the surveying for the dam was only relaying the story of what happened in the strange days with the blasted heath from the guy who witnessed it, who was the friend of the guy who had to deal with it. The hydrologist was right in the mix of it. Well, if you were in the mix of it that much, even the guy that in the story was sickly, was feeble, because he had to deal with what happened in the strange days. You know what I mean? That kind of deal. And the other thing is, in the storyline, if you look at it, step by step through the storyline, the thing happens, and a bunch of weird shit happens at the same time. It's supposed to just land, boom. What the hell's that? I don't know. Shit. And then this glory moment supposed to happen where things seem great. People are paying attention to the area. All the fruits are ripening. Everything's amazing. And then all the negativity. So it goes to a real high point and then slams down to the negative. And that's why the negative seems so much more negative. It happens, and automatically people start cutting their fingers off and things go crazy, with no actually affirmation of whatsoever. and then it goes high, but the high doesn't seem so high because all this negativity's happening, so he doesn't really get the point why the high's high.
I think there were things that were probably edited or just post-production stuff that.
By the way, the whole time I've made points about this film, this guy is trying to make like convenient understanding of why the film's the way it is. We're going head to head right now,
and the reason for that is because I don't think it's a bad film.
It's not a bad film as of itself in a film, but if you paste it on the color out of space, it is shit.
I think they took. All right, so.
And by the way, every fucking Lovecraft film that has to deal with outer space is The Thing, apparently, because they turn a bunch of fucking creatures in the film into a emulsification of creatures, like in The Thing, where the dog is doing the thing, and that doesn't happen in Color Out of Space. I'm sorry.
Again, I think it goes to
modern media and what people feel about Lovecraft films, and they don't actually read any of the text, so you have to do what people understand from the films. And one of the most loved-known Lovecraft films is The Thing, even though it's not based off of Lovecraft. You pieces of shit.
I think there's a lot of adaptation versus inspired by. I think there was a lot that they took out of Color Out of Space, especially enough that I can.
You have to see the alpaca is the thing.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that there was enough taken that I don't feel slighted in that this was called Color Out of Space. I definitely think it was hit on.
But you are not, obviously. Well, you are.
Yeah.
Not obviously, but I'm saying, if you were a diehard elitist.
Well, sure.
Look at it like from a diehard elitist.
Yeah, well,
the thing is that, like, I find, right, and I do love Tolkien, and I've read The Hobbit. I find there's parts of Lord of the Rings and The Hobbit that are very enjoyable, that are not different, that are very different from the book, but make the film flow better.
Yeah, and we had a lot of discussion about this as we were watching the movie, as far as when you read the actual stories compared to the films that you watch, like what things are cut out, like why would you do these things, and to people that read the stories, you feel slighted almost. But at the same rate, like I was talking to you, when I watch Lord of the Rings, and I compare it to when I had been reading Lord of the Rings, I was like, he streamlined it a lot.
Yeah, he did.
He did. I don't feel
he did add shit though.
Yeah, I don't feel like he butchered it.
Remember the Hobbit?
I don't feel like he
Tauria?
did. Yeah,
they added that shit.
But I don't feel like that they slandered the name of Tolkien.
Yeah.
Well, I feel the same way with this.
The thing is, if the Lord of the Rings films came out first, the way they did Lord of the Rings, they would have actually slided the name of Tolkien. But because no, I mean The Hobbit. But if the Lord of the Rings, since the Lord of the Rings films came out first, and they did it very well.
Yeah.
They did homage, and they made a big deal. I think if the Hobbit would have came out first, they kind of would have fucked up maybe a little bit, because they did really butcher it. They did really butcher the wow, how about that? That's pretty cool. But they did really butcher the Hobbit compared to Lord of the Rings. So I mean, I can understand what you're saying there. My thing with the Color Out of Space is they complicated the narrative with random activities and random characters that didn't need to be there to justify a broader scheme, if you know what I mean. Like, I don't feel it's too much of a stretch that the hydrologist comes in to survey the land, walks over to a guy who refuses to move but is very bitter about the whole area, sits down with him over a pint of bourbon or whatever this, and the guy retails the story, and then you go back and watch the blast from that movie there all the way through as him realizing what's happening and have him a very robust man, and by the end of it, he's a very frail individual. I don't see that to be too crazy. And then have it set in an ancient or arcane or whatever you want time, where you don't have to worry about cell phones and where you don't have to worry about this. And the village vet would still come out and check the family, going, I don't know what's wrong with them. I can't understand it. Because there was a lot of back and forth in the original story, with the college and stuff like that. And they were, taking samples and stuff. But, again, there was a lot of times where the highs were very high because they didn't have this negativity happening at the same time. And when the color affected the whole landscape, it was more like bending to them, not grabbing them up and breaking their neck and ass fucking them. It was more just like, like, holy fuck, look at this. Let's get the fuck out of here, that kind of thing.
I thought they did as much as they could with like abstract concepts.
I think they did too much with abstract concepts.
But like trying to make them.
They didn't see, the problem is they didn't make them abstract. They made them concrete and too much in your face.
So
yes, of course. When all that light and shit comes out of the well, the well bubbles up, breaks open, has fucking bugs come out and talks to people. That's too much.
But
too much.
I think they were trying to.
It's supposed to be an aura, not a thing.
I agree with you.
Yeah,
I do agree with you. But at the same rate, I'm like, how do you translate that?
This would be an easier conversation to have with me as far as this film goes if I didn't know what Color Out of Space was.
That's fair.
And this is exactly who they market these films to. People who don't know what the fuck they're talking about.
That's fair.
98% of people who originally watched The Lord of the Rings and The Hobbit didn't actually read the book. Bear none. There you go. Well, let's say 90%. 90% of people who who watched The Lord of the Rings did not read it. Who watched The Hobbit did not read it. Color Out of Space did not read it. And that's who they market films to. People that will take a concept, see the Lovecraft or see the Tolkien, understand a vague concept of what he does, spoon feed it to them, and they think it's amazing. And that's what it is. I would say Color Out of Space by Tolkien or by Lovecraft is a 10 out of 10 story. I would consider Color Out of Space a 7 out of 10 film.
Eight.
8?
8. I like it. I like it a lot.
That's still a 7.5. That's a solid film. And by the way, I am not saying horror because it's not a horror film. It's a sci-fi film. So I'm not doing a horror film versus regular film. I'm doing a regular film goer.
Yeah.
Regular film goer, 6 out of 10.
I think these are pretty close, honestly, as far as like how I feel as a Lovecraft fan and how I feel as a regular film goer.
Yeah. I say regular film because this is a regular film for regular people. This is even though Nick Cage couldn't wear glasses the right way, it was totally Nick Cage the whole time for some fucking stupid ass reason. And the wife sounded more manly than Nick Cage when she got angry because she probably had a bigger dick than everybody else in the fucking film. And the woman was a stupid ass Wiccan. And you know what? Fucking sacrificed blood to a Necronomicon fucking book for some reason, even though it makes no sense because you believe in Wiccan was started in the 60s anyway because it's all about botany and fucking witchcraft bullshit. So fuck yourself anyway. So anyway, Color Out of Space, I'd have to say, is probably overall, like as everything goes in the world today, I will be nice enough. I was gonna give it a 6, but as the world today goes for films, and honestly, modern films blow goats through a straw, even if they're a pack of emulsification of bullshit, I'll still give this film a 7 out of 10 overall.
Yeah, 7.5. I'll say 7.5, like across the board, like Lovecraft fan, regular fan, 7.5.
7.5. Well, yeah, 7.25.
Yeah, that works for me.
Works for me.
I'm totally happy with that.
There you go. There you go.
Good middle ground.
Middle ground? We found the middle ground at 7.25. And there you go. And thank you for not letting me buy this.
Yeah, absolutely. Because, but again, I'm glad I own it.
Yeah.
Color Out of Space.
What?
I think check it out. Paul
Uh-huh.
probably thinks different, but I think it's worth it.
I mean, watch it if you want to. I don't give a fuck. Yeah, it's just whatever. It's cool
Well,
if you're. I mean, as long as you can't read the English language, I'm sure you'll really like it.
probably.
Oh yeah, you really
Yeah.
you'll get a kick out of it for sure. Yeah, pretty much. I mean, I think Josh would agree.
Well, we'll see. We'll have to talk to him about it.
Yeah, well, yeah, I think he's on my side. What do you think? Your side, my side. Your side, my
I think
side.
he's in the middle.
Yeah, he's Switzerland
Yeah,
because
I
they're
think he's
pussies.
Switzerland. Yeah,
Yeah.
I think it's Switzerland.
Yeah, right. You can't make a decision. You Switzerland bastard. Anyway, good Paul.
I might.
Maniacs Meat Podcast. The Color Out of Space by H.P. Lovecraft. Yeah, Nicolas Cage. Well, there you go.
Cage.
Paul. I mean, it's Nicolas Cage film, so it's got to be getting at least 7 anyway.
Sure. Absolutely.
Yeah,
Yeah, guaranteed.
yeah. Except for the Wicker Man.
Issues.
Yeah, the bees, not the bees, you bitches, you bitches. Bye bye. Watch that figure. Bye bye.